Hi guys, welcome. It's the 5th of October and I promised to share some of my out-of-body experiences. So here I am, and this is the first one in this series. The story I want to tell you happened about 5 or 6 days ago now. It's my most recent one, and before that, if I want to go to the next recent one, it's more than a month ago. But this one came by way of my preferred method of projection, and that involves visualization, getting hypnagogic images and moving into them. And this one went exactly like that. So first the setup. I woke up around 5 o'clock in the morning after about 6 hours sleep, and I got up, drank a coffee, had a cigarette, and after about half an hour I went back to bed. This time not to sleep. I could have slept. I was certainly in that sleepy zone, but that's not what I wanted to do, and my mind was really alert enough to not let that happen. So I'm back in bed, and I think I started on my back, lying on my back, and then moved over onto my side. And I just let my body relax back towards sleep, but without losing that alertness so that I wouldn't fall into sleep. And when you do that, that's when you start to get these hypnagogic imagery coming towards you. It is a sign that you're falling into sleep. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm watching these images come and go, and come and go. But I'm waiting for one specific image. Let's say a specific type of image. That is an image that is not so fleeting, but is also very clear, very crisp, very three-dimensional. So clear, in fact, that you almost feel like you can touch it. And I got this image. After about 15 minutes of watching these images come and go, I got this one image. And what it was a sort of sideboard, a table, with two photographs in frames. One photograph was of my son, and the other photograph was of me. Now, I've never seen myself in any of these out-of-body experiences, never a photograph. And so this is really, really quite amazing that I can see myself, and it was a really good likeness. And I spent a little while studying that photograph, and it's that focus and the holding of that image that actually brought me into the scene, because at some moment I felt that I was lying down in the room where that cabinet was, where those photographs were. And I could look around a little bit more from my position, because I'm still in this reclining position on my side. I could look around and see other things in the room. So I know I'm in. I know I've projected. I'm not in my room anymore, my own room, in my own bed. I'm in another bed, in another room, and there's two photographs on the cabinet. And there's also somebody walking around that room. So I look around, and I see this person, and it's me, another me. And this is even more fascinating than watching a photograph, is to watch myself. So I jump out of bed, and I go towards me, other me, and I start conversing. But other me didn't really want to know. It didn't seem to want to accept that I was there. He was busy about his work, he had his head down, side glances towards me, and a sort of attitude from, go away, I don't believe in you. But I kept talking, and I said, hey guy, come, look, we're the same, we're even wearing the same clothes, which we weren't. He was wearing my good clothes, I was wearing my work clothes. But I let that go. I said, look, we've got the same faces. You are me, I am you. Isn't this amazing? He wasn't having any of it. So I thought, well, I'll blow his mind a little bit and I'll levitate and fly around him. That will get his attention, which is what I did. Took me a few moments to get off the ground, but eventually I was up and flying around it. Hey, dude, look, I'm flying. Isn't this amazing? And he was like, yeah, whatever, and carried on about his work. As I was moving around, I felt myself being pulled higher towards the ceiling, and eventually I bumped up against the wall. But this is up by the ceiling, not here. And on this wall was something hanging. I don't know what it was, a metallic object, maybe a frying pan or something like that. And I knocked it, and I had to hold it to stop it falling down. When that had stilled, and I looked back down into the room, other me was gone. Instead, there was a young, 25-year-old, pretty lady. I know who she was, but I'm not telling. But we got talking, and she was interested. She was conversing back. She did want to accept that I was there. And our banter was really good. And I was thinking, if I stay here long enough, this is going to develop into a nice little romantic interlude. I've had these before. These are temptations. If you go down that path, you'll have your nice little romantic interlude, and then you'll wake up in your bed and you haven't been anywhere else, you haven't done anything different. And I wanted different this time. So I resisted the temptation, and instead I called to a higher intelligence, higher consciousness that creates all this, and I said, take me to the astral plane. Immediately I got what a lot of people who do out-of-body experiences talk about, which is the vibration stage. Vibrations running up and down your body which give you the sign that you are projecting or moving up through dimensions. I've never had these before. Slight ones when I've been deeply meditating, when my body is relaxing and my mind is going into another phase. I've had light vibrations. My brother had some really heavy ones a little while back, and he said they were scary as hell. And a lot of people say these are so heavy it feels like your body's being torn apart. I've never had them. It's always been smooth for me. But these were quite intense, but definitely not painful. Really more pleasurable than anything else. And I enjoyed them. It was, imagine sitting in a jacuzzi and having all the bubbles running up your body. That's pretty much what it was like. Really good feeling. And these lasted, I don't know, about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. But I knew it was a sign that I was being taken up out of this room into another place. And I went with it. And where it took me was into the sky, above a city. And I was floating in the air, not flying. I could have chosen to fly if I wanted to, take control, gone off zooming somewhere, soared over the city. But I didn't. It was more like I was being blown on the wind like a feather or a leaf or something. And it was quite nice to actually trust it and just let it go and see where it took me. And it blew me around here, over this city, and I looked down at the city. And I was a little disappointed actually, because it was very normal, everyday, human type city. I could see traffic, I could see buildings that were common to me. And And that's not really what I wanted, so I expressed my disappointment. And I said, no, take me to a higher dimension. And immediately the whole scene changed. I was still in the air, I was still floating around on the breeze, but the city behind me, or below me, had completely changed. This is a flat environment. There were a lot of trees, or low trees, or bushes, whatever they were. And in between, I could see the tops of low-level buildings. Maybe there was dwellings, I don't know. And the whole city was intersected by canals with walkways running along them. All of it was pedestrian. There were no roads, no traffic. It was very quiet, very peaceful, very safe. And then whatever was blowing me around took me down to one of these canals and along it towards the bridge, and I could see clearly the footpaths on either side. And what I was thinking then was, wouldn't it be great if I met somebody and could actually go and converse with them? That didn't happen. I had a feeling that I wasn't being allowed because I was immediately taken up into the air and the scene below changed again back to a normal human type city. But all this is very interesting for me. While I'm being blown around, I'm thinking, hey, you're not letting me get there, are you? You don't want me to have this experience. Okay, show me what you do want me to have. And as I was floating, I could see on the side of me a big 10-story, 15-story building, I don't know, and I was sort of level with maybe the second or third floor. And hanging from outside this building was a motorcycle. Seems kind of strange, but it was hanging there like you would see a bicycle hanging above a bike shop, or a pair of spectacles hanging above an optician's. So I saw this motorcycle and thought it's obviously hanging above a motorcycle shop. But the idea came that I could go for a bike ride, a motorcycle ride. So I reached out my hand and sort of beckoned the motorcycle towards me. This is possible in this state, in this phase, in this environment. But just before it manifested in my hands, I thought, no, let's not do this, because I've done this before. I've manifested motorcycles, I've gone for motorcycle rides, I know I can do that, I want something different. So I let the motorcycle stand where it was, and I thought, what do I really want to do now? And I've had discussions with my brother about all the things we really like to do when we project. And one of the things that came up is to fly, but not flying solo, just with our bodies, because we've done that, both of us, quite a few times, and it's easy. But we're both interested in flying in the human realm, in microlights, powered paragliders and that sort of thing. And we'd never experienced them in either lucid dreams or out-of-body projection. So I thought that would be a nice thing to do, a cool thing to do. A biplane. So maybe I can manifest a biplane. So I felt my body, or I moved my own body then, down towards one of the roads that was below me. And as I'm doing so, I try to manifest a sort of old biplane, you know, the old ones with the open cockpits and the propellers on the front. And already the joystick is manifesting in my hand as I'm coming down to the road, ready as if this road is a runway. And I remember the road, and it was not very long, and it had an embankment at the end, and on the embankment was a great big billboard. Oh yeah, that piece I forgot. Before I decided to manifest, even before I saw the motorcycle, I'd seen this road and this billboard and got at that moment a light in my eye, and my first thought was, my physical body is waking up and I can see light coming in. But when I looked again, what I saw was the moon. It was a very thin, sickle moon, positioned high up in the sky above this billboard. And I thought, take me there. And as I said to the higher intelligence, take me to the moon. And then the moon disappeared. That's when I realised that I'm not being allowed to do some things here. And that's when the motorbike thing came, and that's when the airplane thing came. So I'm going along this road, and I've got this joystick, and I decided I don't want just a single stick in my hand. I want a proper steering wheel, airplane steering wheel. So I feel that manifesting in my hands then. And I feel and see part of the airplane forming around me and the wing coming into view above me as the embankment is coming towards me, because I'm going to take off before that embankment. And I do that, and I take off into the air, and the airplane is not fully formed yet, so I stick out my hand outside the cockpit and start tapping the side of the fuselage. That is one of the techniques to make manifestations come more into being and more solid and more realistic. And this is happening, and I take off above the billboard. I'm flying into the sky, and I can see the aeroplane coming more and more into being, and I'm thinking I can have a really nice flight now and tell my brother all about it. That didn't happen either. I'd been out, for my feeling, maybe about 15 minutes altogether, and that is a long time on these experiences. So while I'm looking forward to actually a good flight in the air, everything disappears and I feel myself lying down in bed. And I think first that the whole session has ended, but then I hear somebody walking past my bed. I've still got my eyes closed. And I live alone, so there's nobody in my house. So I know I'm not out yet. Something else is happening here. So I open my eyes and I'm back in a similar room to the beginning of this episode. But it's not me walking around the room this time, it's my son. And he walked past me and he goes to a cabinet on the wall and he takes something out, I think it was a book, and we exchange a few words. I can't remember what we were talking about now. But I'm also thinking, hey, this is great, I'm not out yet. This is a sort of false awakening. Well, it is a false awakening, not a sort of. It is a false awakening. But when am I going to really wake up? And how long is this part of the episode going to last? And as soon as I said that, I felt myself in my real body, my physical body, in my normal bed, my own bed, in my own room, and the whole thing is finished. And I didn't open my eyes right away. I kept them closed so I could drift through the images and the experience I just had to recall it, because then I would get up and go write it down, which I did. But that was it. That was my experience. For me, there's some very profound changes from other experiences I had. Certainly seeing myself, confronting myself, communicating with myself, the detail of recognizing myself, the consciousness and awareness not to fall into one temptation, but seek something new. Letting go and letting something else take me on an adventure. And again, the resisting something I'd already done, like the motorcycle, and trying something new. Even though I didn't get all the way with the aeroplane, it was still there. And the experience of not being allowed to go to certain places that I wished or desired or asked for. All these are fascinating new developments in my experience. So that was it. That was my most recent out-of-body experience. I haven't had one since then. If a new one comes very soon, I'll certainly put that one out first. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is go back through the experience, backwards through all my experiences, pick out the most profound ones, the most entertaining ones, the deeper ones, the ones that blew my mind, and I'll share more of those. For now, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye bye.